right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. Last review session of the 14th season. Um, Indeed, just after this, one more show, and then this season will be wrapped up. Anyway, we got 4 reviews up this week. The first of which is, I'm assuming this is pronounced Vylan? Could be Vylan. It's a nonsense word, or it could be an obscure word that no one here knows. But point is, not exactly 100% on the pronunciation. If the developer wishes to correct that, be sure to contact us about that. But otherwise, we're going with Vylan. Anyway, so Vylan is a 100-level tile-based platformer about beating level under a certain amount of time. Well, that last part is optional. I'll say it right now. You can have the time pressure. You can get rid of it. I got rid of the time pressure. Because...
Are you playing as a numeral 1, or is that supposed to be a dude?
Yes. I don't think he's supposed to be a 1. He is definitely an abstraction of,
Oh, now that I look at it, it's actually white and very light gray, and you can see, like a pompadour and a face.
Yeah. Like I said, so I guess going back to my review last week of Up and Down, when I talked about minimalism, this is the kind of game I'm actually referring to in terms of minimalism. Now, that game had minimalism in its mechanics, in maybe not necessarily in its design, certainly not in its art style. This game, this is minimalism all the way. This is about as, minimalistic as you can get and still be like a video game kind of deal. Like, this wouldn't have been taxing for late 80s computers kind of deal. And yeah, its premise is very simple. You go to point A to point B, but that is a puzzle. And I guess I'm going to have to do this. Petty, you have to move on the diagonals. Like, hit the arrow keys. Yeah, so the keyboard controls for this were weird because it uses WASD for the 4 cardinal directions, but for the diagonals, it used the left and right arrow keys.
I hate that extremely.
It worked much better on a controller. Like, my Xbox One controller, the D-pad for the cardinals, the shoulder buttons for the diagonals, at least the upper diagonals. The lower diagonals, that was still the D-pad. But that doesn't come up for a while. And, everything about this game just is minimalism. Its design, its premise, its structure. It's one room, 100 rooms. That doesn't, though it does, will add more gimmicks to the fray as it goes along. Like the next one is decaying floors. That's when the moveset here really falls into play, because the floors, they dissolve in about 2 turns. So, you've got to figure out how to do that, in the proper amount of time, or if you don't want to use the time, you don't have to. And, as far as how it all works, mostly fine. Like, not gonna lie, the diagonals are shockingly obtuse for a game this straightforward. And it all feels a bit stiff, but that's kind of the point. Your movement is as tile-based as the rest of everything. So it reckons that this would feel, not smooth. And here's the introduction to the destructible platforms. This game does the, teaching you by level. Because everything here is simple enough to teach. This has been one of my caveats with the whole, anti-tutorial method of teaching games. Like, that works when the game's simple enough. But, when you've got, say, Dark Souls, you may not be able to teach all the mechanics via naturalistic progression. Now, certainly there's been over-tutorialization, but that's neither here nor there. This game, definitely going to teach you, like, as far as death goes, there's no penalty other than having to start things over. Interestingly enough, there's no bonus reward. Like I said, this game is probably a thesis statement on minimalism that somebody who's more interested in that kind of thing can write. But yeah, there's no tokens, there's no collectibles, no score, no nothing. Like, there's no perceptive award for beating the levels other than, well, beating the levels. That's fine. But, it's like even in the retro minimalistic games, you'd expect like a medal or some sort of collectible tied into things. As far as if there's any sort of story going on here, it's not really conveyed. Like, this game isn't pure abstraction like some other minimalist games we've covered, but it's close. Like, you can tell that this is a cave, like, you are playing as a guy, and so on and so forth, but, there's no reason given for why you are doing the things that you are doing. So, I'm not sure if that's a good or bad point, honestly. Like, this isn't really the kind of game that needs a setup. Like, honestly, granted, I do like how insane puzzle plots can be, in the sense that they exist. And I see Petty has given up with the timer. Yeah, the timer gets annoying about this point. And I don't know if there's any perceptible difference in terms of reward structure for turning off the timer. There's no achievements to this game either. So I'm at a loss other than, pure challenge as to why you should leave that on. Like, it doesn't affect anything other than, you can take your time and actually plan out your puzzle. And as far as the difficulty, it's, you can get, they're not the most difficult puzzles in the world, and really the difficulty, especially later on, is more figuring out the amount of literal steps and jumps you need to take versus anything else. Anyway, let's see. As far as pricing goes, so this game clocks in at a modest, let's see, $4.99 usually. We are recording this during the summer Steam sale, so it's currently at 70% off at $1.49. At $5, I might be a bit iffy. At $1.50, I say sure. Pretty much any game at that price would get at least a mild recommend. It has to be pretty shitty for me to say no at $1.50 or free or something like that. $5, yeah, this is fine. It's not gonna it's not gonna last you all that long. I think I got about 35 levels in before I got bored. It's just, minimalism doesn't hold my attention all that much. But it's perfect. It's a perfectly serviceable game. Just, if you're looking for frills or anything of that nature, it's not here. Like I said, this is all about, minimalism. Like, there's actually, there's no flourishes of color even to indicate a special thing. It's just black and white. That what they call 1-bit style, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm not
sure.
though
it cheats a little.
Right.
There are some things that are actual shades of gray, and then there are some times when stuff fades to gray.
Right. I'd call it 2-bit style then.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a solid game, especially for its price, but not much more than that. So yeah, that'll about do it for Vylan here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing One Escape.